Stanley, Scuba, Sailing, and Adventures. I appreciate you being here with me to log an entry in the travel journal. If this is your first time, please hit that subscribe button. Today we're going to be looking at two action cameras, head-to-head, scuba diving. This is not a sponsored or paid product review. This is just me comparing two different action cameras. I get asked quite frequently what I use for my videos. My primary go-to action camera is the GoPro HERO13. Now, sometimes I run that with an external lens. This is just the GoPro HERO13 raw output without any color correction and no video light. Now, this is a shallow dive. Probably the max depth was 25 feet, so there is quite a bit of ambient light. Other than that, this is the footage straight from the camera. Here is the exact same clip recorded via the Insta360 Ace Pro. Now I have these cameras mounted side by side on a tray, so they're a couple inches apart, but other than that, virtually the same view. Again, this is the raw video out of the Insta360 Ace Pro. No video light, no color correction. And we'll look at both of these scenes in a minute side by side. I wanted to present them this way first so you could get the immersive feel of the video from both cameras. Here's the same footage, the output from the GoPro HERO13, output from the Insta360 Ace Pro, no color correction, no video light. Now, I'm splitting the screen in half, but you'll notice the view is a little different. I'm not using any external lenses, but the Insta360 Ace Pro seems to have a much wider field. And we'll look at yet another view of both of these videos where we see the full frame side by side, and you'll see exactly what the difference is in terms of width of the video. I did my best to configure both of the cameras as close to the same as possible. Obviously, they both have different menus, a little bit different setting, so I will go through the major differences. But these are both shot at 4K, 120 frames per second. You'll see in this clip just a second ago, I did turn on the video light. So here you get to experience a little bit of the impact of the video light on both cameras. My initial impressions are that the color is a little richer. I don't know if that's the appropriate term to use in the GoPro HERO13. I feel the Insta360 brings more of the reds in, but almost get a sense that the rest of the colors are a little washed out. This is not my first attempt at comparing these two cameras. My first attempt, I did a dive and I used videos, and it was a pretty dark environment. The Insta360 Ace Pro was so washed out that it was completely unusable. I made some adjustments to the settings, and Here you can see I'm getting a much better result. Again, really, this exercise was just for my own benefit. I'm always looking for something better, some way to improve the content that I'm generating. However, because I do get so many questions about what camera I'm using, I thought I would just share this research with you. As promised, we will move into another view, and here we get the full frame from both cameras. I did go through all of the settings on both cameras again to try to pick out all of the major differences. The GoPro, I do have the linear and horizontal leveling enabled, and there's an option to select the bit depth, and I do have the highest, which is 10 bit selected. In the Insta360, I have active HDR enabled. I do not have that enabled on the GoPro, although it is an option. If I recall correctly, when I didn't enable the HDR on the Insta360, that's when I got that really washed out video that I couldn't use. Again, I was using video lights when I did that, so I'm not sure that's a complete apples to apples comparison. Also, in the Insta360, I do have the Ocean One color enabled, so that's happening inside the camera. There are certain points, like right here, I almost feel that the Insta360 is doing a better job with the color. But overall, I think I'm happier with the GoPro's color. I did create a matrix for myself to compare all of the settings. Again, I've called out the major differences on the screen in terms of other settings. The aspect ratio is the same, the resolution is the same, the frame rate is the same. Stabilization, I'm using Hyper Smooth on the GoPro HERO13 and the standard stabilization in the Insta360. Those are different, there just wasn't the same option in both. I do have low light stabilization turned on the Insta360. There was not an option on the HERO13. The EV compensation are both set to 0. The white balances are both set to auto. The ISOs are both set to auto, and the ISO max are both set to auto. The sharpness for the GoPro HERO13 was set to high. The Insta360 was set to highest. Just different names for the same setting, I don't know, but both were set to the highest possible setting. Here we have the Insta360 Ace Pro on the left side as it came out of the camera. Again, recall, I do have the Ocean One setting enabled, so there is some color correction done in the camera. On the right-hand side, we see color correction performed inside the Insta360 application. I used just the default settings in the Insta360 app to do color correction for underwater video. Again, note in this part of the video, we'll be under the ledge looking at the fish. I'll back out. We'll turn on the video light. There's the video light, and we'll go back under the ledge. Note the difference in the color correction. I'm really interested in your feedback. If you disagree or agree with my opinion, please let me know. I feel like the app overall did a really good job with the color correction. That 4-eye butterfly fish was still just a little too washed out, but I feel like it did a good job of cleaning that up. It's absolutely bringing out the yellows in these fish, and I feel like it did a good job managing the reds. I'm assuming that the ocean blue setting that I enabled was already bringing back some of those reds. When we get some sunlight here, you can really see how the left side is a bit washed out. But the color correction, I feel, did a pretty good job of cleaning that up too. I tried to pick a video that had a variety of scenes, some areas where we're getting a bunch of sunlight, some areas where we're under the ledge. Now we're looking at the GoPro HERO13 straight from the camera, and the GoPro HERO13 with some color correction. Now the color correction in this instance I did in DaVinci Resolve. That color correction was just manual. That's the only way I ever do it. I don't have any settings that are pre-configured. I just do it by eye, and I look at the color levels in the video as I'm adjusting it. It is a little time consuming, but that's the way I've always done it, and I actually enjoy it. That being said, to be completely honest, I don't always do color correction, especially on shallower dives. I just forget sometimes, or I feel the video light is adding enough color back. It just kind of depends on my mood and the video, and if I remember. Certainly on the deeper dives, I tend to do a lot more color correction because I need to add a lot more color back, especially if there's some distance between the camera and the scene, because then obviously the video light's not reaching quite as far. So several questions for you. Which camera do you think did better without any color correction? And which method of color correction do you think looks better on the screen? The Insta360 app color correction or this manual color correction in DaVinci Resolve? There are a couple apps in the Apple Store that I have on my phone and I've used for color correction, just for what I would call fun photos, not photos that I'm going to print, just things I'm going to publish in social media. Sometimes I'll use those apps, and actually just recently started exploring those for color correction. And one is called Aquacolor Fix and the other is called Dive Plus. I used those in the video where I was testing the DiveVolk housing for the iPhone, and I thought they did a really good job. They also do video, and I did use that on some of the video that I captured with the iPhone, but that's not part of my normal workflow, so I can't really see ever using those apps for color correction for my GoPro video. Here we've got everything together, right? So on the left hand side, I've got the GoPro on the top, right out of the camera. On the top right, I have the GoPro color corrected in DaVinci Resolve. On the left bottom, the Insta360 Ace Pro, right out of the camera. Again, recall that setting for Ocean 1 was turned on, so there's probably a little color correction happening in the camera. And then on the right side now, This is the Insta360 Ace Pro color corrected in DaVinci Resolve. So both of these videos on the right hand side, GoPro top, Insta360 bottom, were color corrected in DaVinci Resolve manually. In this particular scene under the ledge, when we have the video light, I feel like the GoPro and the Insta360 are neck and neck. I maybe almost like the Insta360 a little better here in terms of the color, but it's so close. And again, this is with some color correction, but now when we pan out to this scene, I absolutely feel like the GoPro is stronger and the Insta360 is still a little washed out. Now I still have the video light on, but that's quite a distance. The video light really shouldn't be causing it to wash out like that. Based on the outcome here, I feel like the GoPro is the better choice. That being said, I didn't have the Insta360 on the dive mode. So to be fair, I feel like I need to get the Insta360 back in the water and try it again with the dive mode enabled. And then I may need to turn the HDR off when I enable the dive mode. So I feel like I need a couple more dives with the Insta360 to really be certain and thorough with my evaluation. I hope you found some of that information helpful, useful, or at least mildly entertaining.
Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment.